Hey everyone! I have to be honest with you, I'm just a bit scared about doing this because I don't think I have a good grasp about how to do natural poses, but I'm trying to figure it out in a logical way. And, well, you know what? Follow me. Okay, so this is what I've been thinking. Imagine I'm standing like this. You're standing like this. This would be like, how does a person stand like this? Well, I think about it, and the more I think about it, I'm never standing like this. Like, this is how I stand when I'm like trying to see how much I weigh on a balance or something. But this is like a very unnatural way of standing. If I'm going to be standing with my legs parallel, they're usually going to be just a more like this. But this is also not natural. So I started thinking like, what is the way that I usually stand when I'm doing nothing, like for example waiting the bus? And the first thing I thought about was I just break my hip just a bit, just like this, and standing like here, maybe with my hands on the pocket and whatnot. And every once in a while I'll just switch it. So I started to think like, well, what is it like to do this pose, to draw this pose, to break the leg? Because I was thinking about it, and when I try to draw something natural like this, what I usually do is actually put this leg straight and then the other leg goes behind like this, and this is not a balanced pose. Like, no one ever stands like this, and this it is like a fashion photo or something, but this is not relaxed. I know that my center of gravity is still like a line going down or something, but this is not something that people usually do when they're trying to be relaxed. What they try to do is have their both feet on the ground and just stand like this. So that means that when you are breaking your hip, you're bringing this knee forward, like this. What this does is create an imbalance on the hip. Like, this part is going to be higher than this part. I'm going to exaggerate it a bit when I draw it. And also, to compensate for that, you're not like standing straight, you can stand straight, but you're also going to compensate by just breaking this line. That is also something that is really used in fashion illustration. So I started to think what I do, and it's like I break the hip like this. Well, this is a natural pose, right? So what else do I do? And when I'm thinking, usually because my shoulders are hunched, and I'm always wearing like my hands here, I'm always like this. And if you see me on this side, so I can face the microphone, if you see me like this, I'm always a bit hunched like this. This is a very natural pose for me, and you can see that it is a curve that goes like this, like being like this. And this is something that, it is also a natural pose. People are like this. And you can see like the line of action is going to be drawing like an S like this, but it's going to end like that. And I'm also thinking about when I'm having crossing my arms. Since my arms are heavy, what I have to do is to bring my back forward, to arch it a bit, and in order to compensate for the weight. So this draws a curve that is more like this. Now, I was thinking about that as well, and I was like, well, so what's going on with, for example, like I'm fairly skinny, and if you are someone fat, that you have a big belly, maybe, or a pregnant woman or something, I was thinking like, well, what are the two ways, or what are the ways that you can stand? And well, first, you will be arching all of this back to compensate for the weight of the belly. This is something like, I have a friend who's a rugbyer, and he has a really big belly, and he's always like this. And it's like he's bringing all of this back and he's bringing all of this forward in order to like have a center of gravity like this. And the other ones is like, well, people that are more like introverted, they're not like this, but they're more like, you flex this just a bit, flex it, and you bring all of this to the back and compensate with this part. You just do the exact opposite. So you're just like this. I am exaggerating the pose just a bit. But you try to bring this back. And it's something like, it also involves like body language and whatnot. And then I was thinking, like, I saw this chair. And what happens when you are leaning on something? Well, you can see, can you see me? Can you see me, all of me? You can see like, well, this line here is broken and it is broken like this, that these are two lines that join there. You can also, you can have all of this going towards this part because your center of gravity is going to need now like a line that goes like this because you're using this as an extra leg. And I don't know what else, like if you're leaning back on a wall or something, you can have your two legs going forward, that are not below your torso, but they can be forward because you're using this to compensate. I don't know, they're just some things that I'm thinking, what is the logic behind it all? Now, I think that, the whole center of gravity thing is important because you want to stay standing and not fall. But, okay, I want to draw this. That's what I know. What I know is that I'm going to try to draw these poses, okay? So let's go back to the computer. Okay, so what I have here are some of the poses that I just did when I was right there. And I want to deconstruct them just a bit. I'm going to be exaggerating a bit what I'm seeing to see if I can help me figure out everything. So let's go. So first I'm going to focus on line of action. So as I was saying, well, this should be pretty easy to figure out. So this one should be something like this. Actually, when I think about it, most of the standing poses should be something like this. This one is actually pretty similar. It goes something like this. This one moves like this curve. This one like this. This one is for the fat man, but it also does the same thing, like maybe just a bit exaggerated when I do the fat man. This is the second fat man that is like this. Now in this one, it moves like this in diagonal. And for this one, it would be something like this. At least that's how I feel that they should be. Now, I also wanted to do a second thing, that is try to find the gravity center on each of these ones. Now it's always going to be a straight line. As I said before, what I believe is that the hips and the torso are going to be the heaviest parts, and those are the ones that are going to define where the gravity center is. So in this particular case, I think that it would be a line that goes like this, and this one like these two are here, so like this. In this one, it comes like from this part. In this one, see, this is here, so the center of gravity would be somewhere around here. It is not a coincidence that they land on your feet. That is actually usually what's going to happen. In this one, it is something like this. In this one, well, you have this here and you have this here, something like this. In this one, because I'm leaning on this, is going to be somewhere around here actually. Let me see, like something like this. It still lands on one foot, but the one in the middle. And for this one, it would be something like this. Like I'm still putting weight in my feet even as I lean on something else. Now, knowing this, let's try to use this knowledge to draw them and see how that goes. I'm going to be tracing a bit because I have the photo and I want to make sure that what I'm doing is right. Or maybe I shouldn't use the photo. No, I'm going to try to remember the pose that I did because I'm going to forget. So I'm going to use the photo. Okay, so I want to see, trying to remove the influence from the photo to see how much I can exaggerate this. So this goes like this. I'm not going to like trace it. I'm going to try to get away from that so I don't get so influenced by the photo. But it's something like this. And then feet would be like this. Let me see, I'm going to get rid of this just for a bit. And here I was putting my hands in my pocket, so it would be like this. I'm going to erase this leg. I don't think that this one is right. And I'm going to do this one again, because I don't think that... Like, I'm going to try to get the basics of the pose real fast so I don't bore you. Let me just bring it here. So something like this. In this one, I'm going to get a quick glance of what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to put the head here. See, I'm going to try to do this one using the line of action. It is actually the exact same pose I was just doing on the other one. But it's just on another angle. So I'm not trying to be super anatomical or correct. I'm just trying to get the feeling of the pose. So this is like this, so maybe this would be moving just a bit like that. I'm a bit concentrated here, that's why I'm keeping so quiet. It has been a while since I've done a video where I stayed quiet because I was concentrated drawing. It looks pretty natural, like all these wavy lines are really helping me get that natural feeling, you know? Like instead of doing like straight lines, you should just go for a wavy feeling. I think that can help with the pose. Now, what would this one be? Let me see. I was accelerating just a bit. So this, like this, really hunching the character's shoulders, because that's what I'm usually like when I'm standing up. See, even though there's a break here in the leg and the knee, it still has this wavy feeling to it, right? And the neck forward. I think that, you know, depending how relaxed the character is going to be, how it's standing when it's relaxed, I think that it has to do with the character that you're designing, if you're planning on doing these two characters you designed, and what the body language says about the character. This one, I don't know. What was it going to be? All right. Well, this one should be just a little bit more easier. So yeah, confidence, right? With the arms crossed. I shouldn't have posed this on profile, but well, you know what? It's going to be just about the same. Let me see. If I move it just a bit, it's not like quite what I intended. But still, you know, I'm doing like super simple legs, so I don't complicate it too much, but you get the feeling, right? Like, look how different these two poses are, and both of them are pretty natural, and they would, you know, they would belong to two different persons that maybe that's just the way of standing. And I'm going to drive myself crazy with this arm crossing thing. Just, his arms are crossed. Okay, I see. This one, let's move on to the next one. And these two are for like the fat persons, right? Let me see. Yeah, more or less. So I'm going to try to do like a fatter person. I'm not usually used to drawing fat people. I don't know how good I am at it. Well, it was more of a profile thing, so it would be accentuated by the curve. This. You know, I'm here trying to draw like a fat person with you know, like broad back. I'm being super sketchy, more sketchier, you know, sketchier than usual, more sketchy than usual. Is that a thing? And they never stand. They always like really spread their legs. I'm doing this, Charlie, wrong. Those legs are wrong. See, I'm not very pleased with this one. I had to work on this one. Look. But now let's see. Let's just go with the profile one here, so I don't make many mistakes like the one I just did on this one. I don't like it. Let me see how it looks. Okay, it's not that bad. It could be worse. Okay, now let's try this one, which is, you know, fat but not with a lot of self-esteem. Just profile here. I don't know how comfortable I feel with the legs bending just a bit for this particular pose that I was talking about. I don't know. I think I have to work on my fat people weight distribution. It's not too good. Now these two are the leaning ones. I'm going to that. Well, if the chair is going to be here, how am I standing on this one? Like this. See, this one, the fun about this one is that you can tell how my hip is going to be working like this. Just hanging on this thing. Let me see, how was I? Was I like this? It looks nothing like the one I was doing, but it still applies, right? I mean, I need to move this closer to the center of gravity. And I would argue that this should be more like this. Something like this, right? No, let me see. I want to see something right. I was doing this completely wrong. I think that, no, let me see. I want to see. Right. It would be like this. This one would be kind of like, this one would be the bended one, and this one would be the straight one. It's just what I mentioned when I was standing over there, that the bended knee always is forward. Bended? Bent knee? Bended knee. I need to focus on my English lessons. And the last, this one is like this, yes. Like this. I'm sorry if any of you have any dogs, and when I whistle while I'm drawing, I make them bark. That is something that sometimes it happens. So yeah. So something like this. This is a very simplified way of posing. But the truth is that, well, all of these poses look pretty natural. I will have to work on the one on the left, but this is what I'm taking away from this whole thing, that I think that once I've edited it, it's still going to be a long video. Sorry about that. I tried to make them as short as possible, but still. What I think is that the most important things to take into account is that, well, basically the hip is always tilted into one of the legs that is going to support most of the weight. The other leg that is not going to be supporting that much weight is going to be bent forward, is going to be stepping forward just a bit. Also, remember that legs are not together, like feet are not together when you're standing, but they're going to be apart because you are trying to form a pyramid-like shape to gain stability when you're standing. Also, like, the best way to know where your character should be standing is by just getting that torso, and once you know where you want that torso, use a line to define the gravity point and try to figure out the balance using that gravity. What's its name? The center of balance. And those are like the most important things that I can take from this. Like, remember to break the hip and the shoulder, don't have it parallel, use the line of action, and use the center of gravity, which I think, like, I never used it, and I think that is a great resource. So that's going to be it for today. Tomorrow I'm going to try to draw people sitting and see how that goes. Wish me luck. That's it for today. My name is Javi and I can draw, and I'm sure that you can draw too. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.